All right, Arlene, go ahead and take it away.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for coming. I'm so happy that you're here to talk about charcuterie boards on this beautiful Saturday morning. So today, how the presentation will go is I have a PowerPoint with lots of beautiful slides and information. And then I have a video I recorded a couple of days ago, and it's making this beautiful board that you see here. So feel free to put questions in the chat, and I'm giving away, I have a free download on my website on how to make a beautiful flexitarian charcuterie board, which is similar to this. So go ahead over to my website and you can sign up for that, and you'll be on my mailing list. The only thing I really send out is my newsletter once a month with recipes and where my classes are and tasty tidbits. So we'll go ahead and get started. Charcuterie boards. This class is really going to focus on doing it yourself. There's lots of charcuterie companies popping up because of demand of folks that can make them for you. And those are great too, because I like to send those to my family when I'm not there for special occasions. It's just really nice to have that resource. But today we're going to talk about making them ourselves. And this picture here is of a French country board. This is, charcuterie originated in Europe. And I think the word translates to like meat or the style of meat that it is. Usually it's dried, but today we're really going to be focusing a lot on cheeses, and we have a little bit of meat in there too. But this board is typically of what they would use in France to serve their charcuterie on. So I always tell people that you can use anything you have to serve your charcuterie board on. You can do trays, you can do platters. I've done over the years many different things. I've built them right on the table on craft paper. It's just whatever works for you. And serving bowls are a really interesting part and an important part of your charcuterie board too. And what I've learned is shallow bowls work the best, because if somebody's like across the room and they see that board, if you have a shallow bowl with like food in it and they can see it, it's more appealing. I'm a big believer in scavenging and going to thrift shops to find serving pieces, because people clean out their cupboards, clean out their houses, and you always see lots of interesting things in thrift shops. So now we're going to talk about a couple of the types of charcuterie boards that there are out there. Individual is one type. During COVID, this was really popular. You just use a plate and build it right on the plate. As you can see here, it's individualized. These work really well for weddings and large functions. You could have little cutting boards. We have a beautiful cutting board company in our area called Epicurean, and they make some astonishing cutting boards. They have a great outlet store in Superior. And so I like to use those. But I also encourage people to find a picture, because there's lots of beautiful pictures of charcuterie boards on the internet, and recreate it. It's not hard to recreate because a lot of it's just simply arranged. And you need to think outside the board. Search around your house. Like I said, you can see this picture. They used a combination of chopping block, cutting board, trays, bowls, and I think they kind of like used whatever they had. I like to use a sheet pan for a snack platter. Those half sheet pans, I think they kind of have that industrial look. They're easily accessible and they're very functional because you can bake things on them. So and most everybody has one of those in their cupboards. I like to tell people to have little clusters of different items, because when you look at a charcuterie board, what's so inviting about it is the abundance of it. And because you kind of look at it and go, oh my goodness, what am I going to eat first? So I think if you have just like little clusters and piles of things, people are like, wow, I have so many choices here. I think that's part of the fun of it. And just keeping in mind color, herbs, edible flowers. We'll go into it more, but it's really important to make your board visually beautiful. Now, my theme and my boards a lot when I was a caterer, which I was a caterer for 20 years and did many charcuterie boards, was flowers. So you'll notice that in my style when you see the video and I make one, that it's very floral. So using your imagination, you can go beyond just the savory, sweet and salty, like pretzels and chocolate dipping. That's a nice one. You can do traditional. Lox and bagels is fun. I've been really into making my own bagels, my New York style bagels, and I can make them any size. So I like to make little mini bagels and just buy some lox and just present a beautiful board for breakfast. Spicy, saucy, you know, all different flavors can go on it. You can make it gluten-free, low carb, just whatever you desire. And also don't forget the chocolate, because chocolate and cheddar is an amazing combination. In case you didn't know, I'm a chocolate expert, right? Just from eating, not from studying it. So some more themes that are fun. You know, charcuteries really started in Europe and around the Mediterranean, because olives are very plentiful there. All different types of meats and cheeses are made there. So that's really lends itself to a natural one. But Cajun, French, Scandinavian, you can make a beautiful Scandinavian board with all those grain breads and the beautiful farmhouse cheeses and smoked fish that they have in Scandinavia. And a traditional Italian antipasto board. That's where you see a lot of typical board, charcuterie boards. And then you can think out the box, steak and potato. Just think about doing a nice dinner board, slicing steak. It doesn't have to be hot, it can be cold. Baked potato bar, baked potatoes with condiments. That's really nice just for a small group. And the sweet pots, cheese and grain breads, I got this idea from a farm conference I went to many years ago, and I never forgot it because it made such an impression on me. They had built it right on the table, and it was from donations. They had lots of bakers that made these crusty whole grain breads. They sliced up different sizes. They had pots or jars of jam just placed along it. And then they had these beautiful cheeses they had just sliced up and put as a chunk, and people could slice it off. And that was the break for the conference. And I'll never forget how beautiful that was and how practical and how nutritious it was. And of course, breakfast boards. I love to make breakfast boards for my guests that come from out of town, because they can sit there for a while and people can kind of rise late and still have something to eat. So there's usually, you know, on the internet, when I've done research, charcuterie boards either go epic or simple. There's not a lot in between, I find there. And most try to be epic, but you don't have to be. Here, to me, is a good, fairly simple charcuterie board, because it has the vegetables, it has the cheese cubes, has some really nice spreads. Looks like most everything was bought, perhaps, except for maybe the wrapped, looks like dates there. But you can buy everything for a charcuterie board. You don't have to make things yourself. But of course, if you want to make snacks for it, you certainly can. So here's a picture of one that's just a little bit more advanced. It's got a little bit more on it. They've taken the time to do a few more garnishes, but you can see how the fresh herbs and the greenery really make the colors pop, and it really adds a visual importance to it. So here's kind of a map of a basic charcuterie board, and you can have more. You don't have to have just this, but this is a good starting place. And the only thing that I will say about the cheeses is, in design work, we always learned to have things in odd numbers, like 3s and 5s. So with the cheeses, I would probably have 3. And the spread could be a cheese. So you could have two, pieces and then a cheese spread. So pick your star ingredient. And for me, charcuterie is all about the cheese. And you can see here, this star ingredient is mozzarella, and there's a few different ways, but if you'll notice, it's all items on it that go well with mozzarella cheese. So that's kind of what you want to think about. If you put something, a partner food on it, will it go well with the cheeses? Condiments, you can go all over the board with condiments. There's tons and tons of options for condiments, and we'll go through some of them. And then I usually just build the protein around if I have meat or hummus or something, but I typically like to have the cheese as the main star. Next, we're going to talk about platters. Platters as a serving vehicle for entertaining. I love platters because people kind of gather around a platter and they talk, and they're kind of and more in communication. It's more casual. It can be the start of a great meal. If you're having people over, you could just do a nice charcuterie tray, put that out. It'll be plenty for people to snack on while they're waiting for dinner. It's also a great vehicle for wine and cheese tastings. If you want to have a casual, like the holidays, it's really hard to have a dinner party and get people all together because everybody's schedule is so crazy. But it's easier to meet for a cup of coffee or come over for a glass of wine, right? So a little charcuterie platter to have a few people over for a glass of wine just for an hour or so is a great way to entertain. I also love to do the indoor picnic and make it like a date night. Sometimes I'll make a charcuterie platter just for my husband and I and say, honey, we're having snacks for dinner. And he's thrilled with that idea, just because it's a break from the normal routine of the meat and two sides or the protein or pizza or whatever that we normally do. So these are a few different kinds of charcuterie boards that I made recently that I'll talk about. Mediterranean, of course, to me, the best because all those products come from the Mediterranean area that work so well. Served room temperature. When I was in Italy, we saw tons of charcuterie type boards like this, and everything was room temperature. Nothing was ever refrigerated. But I do want to say 2 hours is what you want to keep your charcuterie board out for, and then you want to put it in the fridge or wrap it up because you don't want foodborne illness. But you can see here, I made a sweet potato hummus. I have some olives, and I made a spread, a tzatziki sauce for the stuffed grape leaves. And it just was a really nice platter. I did these for lunch. I think I did 4 of them. This was a classic platter to me. It kind of worked out to be like an orangish, rustic fall platter. That the ball in the upper center there is just the port wine cheese spread that I rolled into a ball and kind of rolled in scallions. And of course, I took the idea from the sweet pots to have some beautiful pepper jelly that someone had given me as a gift. I think we all get a lot of jellies and jams and preserves because we grow so many beautiful fruits here. So I like to save those to serve, and I put it just right on the tray with a spoon so people can get at it pretty easily. And this one is plant-based. As you know, if you don't, I'm a flexitarian, which means I love plant-based foods too. And the meat that you see in the front is the tofurkey, and it's the hot Italian sausage. And what I do with that is I just roll it in Italian leaf spices, dry spices, or herbs de Provence. And I cook it in a skillet, a hot skillet, really quickly to just kind of brown it. Then I slice it and I throw it back in the skillet with a few more herbs. And so I get this crusty kind of crust on it, and it's delicious, and it really serves well, and it tastes great at room temperature. I also made a red pepper spread for this, and there are lots and lots of plant-based cheeses on the market as well that would go really nice on a plant-based. And one thing I do want to say about a plant-based platter, if you have strict vegans coming, you might want to do a separate platter like this for the plant-based, just so there won't be any cross contact. So here is one of my favorites. It's my seafood platter, and it's really simple. It's just, I use some seafood sausage that I got at my local fish market, some seafood spread. I rolled up this, the smoked salmon into little rosettes, and then I put a traditional garnish for caviar, which is the eggs, chopped eggs.
Hey, Arlene.
Yes.
Arlene. We're not seeing that picture.
Okay. Did you seen the picture before?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. I will see what I can do about that. All right. Okay. Let's see. Let's try sharing it again. Jennifer, are you on?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. What do we see now?
I am just seeing you.
Okay. All right. Let me try. My share screen is kind of wonky. How about now?
Still blank for the moment.
Okay. I'm just going to go out and come back in.
Okay. It'll just be a moment, everybody.
All right.
Technology is great until it's not.
Yeah, it's not. Okay.
Oh, well, thank you, Marina, for adding that link. That's really impressive. I'm pleased that you added that. All right. It'll just be a few minutes while Arlene gets rebooted. Oh, that's a mistake. Oops. Oh, well, no worries.
Delivered.
Okay. But there is the YouTube video. So for those of you who have joined us a little late, Arlene has a YouTube channel. That's funny. Arlene has a YouTube channel that this presentation is downloaded on. So you can just find it at Arlene Coco, that's COCO.com on YouTube. So if you've missed any of the earlier portion of this class, there's some beautiful images. Welcome back, Arlene.
Thank you. All right. Let's see. Here I am. And we'll try to share the screen. Okay. Hang on, let me find it. All right. Getting there. Hang on. Okay, can you see it now?
1 second. Nope, not yet. It's frozen on me. If you want to start talking, maybe it'll switch over to you.
Okay, I'm not sure. If that's,
Okay, it doesn't show that you've shared your screen.
okay, let's see. All right, how about now?
Bingo, we got it.
Hey, we're back. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what happens with the freezing. It's just an annoyance that I've yet to
I'm sure it's just a bandwidth issue.
yeah. Okay, I think we're on the seafood one, right?
I believe so.
Okay, so anyway, this was the seafood platter that I did, and what I was going to say about the caviar on it. I found some amazing plant-based seaweed caviar as opposed to fish, and I love it. I actually love it even more than the fish caviar. So it's called Caviart, and I'm sure you could get it on the internet. But it's really, really nice for charcuterie platters that you have seafood on. So here I was going to show a picture of the fruit because I just wanted to tell you that you don't have to put your fruit right on your platter. You can always put it on the side as well as your bread and crackers. A lot of charcuterie platters you see have that on it, but you can always do it on the side. So now we're going to talk about some seasonal platters, specifically holiday platters. I like this one. I saw this one. It's a candy cane, but it's made with cheeses and all things that go with cheeses. And it's got a few little cookies and crackers in there too. And I always enjoyed this one. And I think it was a great idea. You know, over the years when I was a caterer, we'd make charcuterie Christmas trees where we would pick the vegetables on the styrofoam cone. We make platters shaped in the shape of trees. We've done a lot of things over the years, so I'm glad to see that there's innovation still doing with different types of flavors. So seasonal ones too. This is a really nice caprese platter with a dipping sauce, which is a balsamic glaze. You can buy pretty much all of these things and just put it together. And we wouldn't have a charcuterie presentation without the chalets, which are gaining in popularity. This one is a little bit elaborate, I think, but I like this one. You could say goodbye to gingerbread houses when you have this, for sure. Can you imagine just tearing that apart to eat it with the breadsticks? You can put a variety of flavors. You want 2 to 3 ounces per person for an appetizer and 5 to 6 ounces total for a meal. So if you have an appetizer 1 hour prior to your event or your party, you could figure 2 to 3 ounces per person is a good amount. Cones are also popular too. If you have a stand-up event, they're easy to make. There's all sorts of little cone holders out there that are acrylic that you can stick them in, but they really are nice to hand to people or to pass for different events. And now we're going to talk about sweet boards. Sweet boards, there's a rumor that sweet boards are going to overtake savory boards. So I dedicated a few slides for sweet boards. I think this is so precious to have all these little bits and pieces of candies and different items in the board. S'mores, of course, we love our s'mores in the North Woods. This is a really nice way to present just graham crackers and chocolates and things that you would use for a s'more board, and some just things on the side. Makes a really nice dessert if you're going to eat outside. And I really like this concept of the hot cocoa charcuterie kind of board, because you can just wrap this up, make it up, wrap it up, and pull it out when you need it if people stop by or on the holidays. I think you can do lots of different things, and I think it'd be a really nice gift to drop off to somebody or give somebody that's special in your life. So all the sweets, here's some just different examples of the chips and things that you can add for coffee or hot chocolate. And it can go beyond the holidays. You know, you can have these any time of the year. So we'll go and I'll show you a few slides of different throughout the year kind of charcuterie boards. Veganuary's coming up, and boy, I always look forward to it every year because I love vegetables and I love to get my vegetables in. And this is a really nice way to make it and just put it in the fridge. When I have company for the weekend, the first thing I do is I make a really nice vegetable tray and I wrap it up and I throw it in the fridge and I pull it out so when they first get there that they'll have something nutritious to munch on, because when people come to see me in the Northwoods, they usually have to drive a long way, so they're always ready for a snack. Palentine's or Valentine's Day. This is a great way to entertain if you have children or if you have family, to have the little cookies and the candies. It's really nice. And I think they presented it really nicely here. And of course, Cajun, you know, a lot of Cajun culture is stemmed in German and French. So the sausages and the smoked meats are very prevalent in Cajun culture. So it's really nice to have those and have a Cajun theme board. And of course, we have to say Mardi Gras because that's coming up, and that's my favorite holiday of the year. A lot of folks in Louisiana, they just turn their Christmas tree into a Mardi Gras tree and just change the bulbs on it and change the decorations and make it purple, green, and gold, and they just keep on rolling. And of course, St. Patrick's Day is a great time to entertain too. You can do a green and white theme and have some of those beautiful farmhouse cheeses and do a beer tasting with it. I think that would be a really nice idea. And then tablescapes, the last one here. And tablescapes are a great idea for summer entertaining. And when you hear me talk about building it right on the table, this is what I mean. And this is great for summer entertaining, for weddings. You could have this as your just entire food. If you're having a casual outdoor wedding where people could snack and just take plates and graze. So I just wanted to give you a few tips for how to make an amazing board that I picked up just through my years. We talked about the shallow bowls for the wet items, small bowls. And if you're a newbie or if you really want to think about your charcuterie board, you can map out what you want on your board. Like take your cheese and put it in different spots. If you have a lot of things, you just want to kind of visually move things around to what looks right. A lot of charcuterie board design to me is very intuitive and you just kind of know, but just remember everything on the board should be complementing the cheese. Playing around the colors, shapes, textures, those are so important. And you want to also make sure you bring your board out an hour to 2 hours ahead because cheese tastes best at room temperature and those cured meats. And then of course the dark cheddar with, dark chocolate with the cheddar. It's a great combination. I encourage you to try that. And think about beer pairing with your cheese because beer goes great with cheese. So I put in the chat about signing up for my free download, how to make a gorgeous flexitarian charcuterie board. So I encourage you to do that because it's a PDF download that I've worked on quite a long time. And it's got a lot of these same tips in it, but it's got some other interesting things in it as well. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And then I'm going to, let's see, try to figure out if we want to take a break for a minute or two so I can pull up my YouTube for the video. So let's see how we can do this. Let me think. Okay. So this is want to learn some great tricks. Hey, video I made a couple of days ago, and if we get disconnected or something, you can always go to my YouTube channel. So let's see now. I can share. Okay, Jen, are you there, dear?
Oop, there we go. Yes.
Can you see the YouTube?
I can.
Perfect. Well, hopefully we will. It's going to be one long video, so hopefully it won't freeze. But if it does, we'll just go back in, right? All right, here we
You
go.
bet.
Your next charcuterie board, absolutely amazing. Well, come along with me and I will show you how. Hi, I'm Chef Coco and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to be talking all about charcuterie boards, and I'm going to make one for you using some of my tricks that I've learned along the way to make yours extra special, easy, and it won't break the bank. So come on along and I'll show you how. So the first thing we have to talk about is boards. Boards, as we talked about earlier, can be just about anything. I collect cutting boards. You can see my favorite Minnesota board here. And this would be for a small charcuterie board, maybe 2-4 people. You can also use just plain trays. I like this black tray. I think this is what I'm going to use today. I have a piece of parchment paper down, and I think that will work out well for mine, for keeping everything safe and in place. And you can also use like plastic trays, cutting boards, anything that you have that can hold the product. Now, it doesn't have to have a lip on it, but it just has to be flat and food safe. And then you can make it food safe by either putting plastic wrap at the bottom or parchment paper. Okay. So the next thing we want to talk about is our tools. Now you can go really fancy on these really nice tools from Pampered Chef. Or you can go pretty simple and basic with knives that you have, smaller knives that you have on hand, or spoons, whatever works for you. These are handy also to have too, is these little spikes with a card that you can just put the card in to name what it is. These are really nice to have. I got these little cards. Somebody gave me these little cards. They're like little kitchen cards, but you can use all types of cardstock and just put the name of the item on it. Now you also want to have an assortment of small bowls, and at least 2 bowls, so you could put some things that are wet in or liquidy in. You can have a larger ones as well, depending on how big your tray is. So what I like to do first when I make a charcuterie board is I like to place my cheeses. You want to have a couple of different kinds of cheeses. I like to have a hard cheese. I have a 4-year-old cheddar, and I cut out the package name. If it's nice, I put it on there if I want to add it so people can see. It's not necessary, but when you're prepping, it's nice to have it so you'll know what you have. I have a Gouda, I have a blue cheese, and I have a port wine cheese that I'll fit in there somewhere. I also am going to make a little flour for you with cheese and Belgian Endive. And then I also have a log of goat cheese here that I'm wrapping and breading, sort of coating in everything but the bagel seasoning. And who doesn't love that seasoning, right? It goes on everything. So just gives, and this is plain goat cheese. So we'll leave that there and we'll put that down too. Okay, so for my meats today, I'm going to do a couple of different meats, but you could do a flexitarian or a vegan charcuterie board, and this is the meat that I like to use for that. It's tofurkey, plant-based Italian. I just roll it in Italian herbs or herbs de Provence, and I roll it around in the skillet, and then I cut it, slice it, and put some more herbs on it and heat it up again just a little bit. And then I chill it down, and it makes really, really nice. It stays together. It's excellent for charcuterie boards if you're looking for a plant-based meat. I also like to use hummus as well for a spread, and maybe a red pepper spread. There's lots of different vegetable spreads and hummus that can stand in for cheeses. And there's lots of nice plant-based cheeses out there that you could use on your charcuterie board as well. So let's go ahead and get started and place our cheeses. So we want to kind of place them in odd places. So this one we're going to have whole. I'll move my things here. So we're going to leave that one there because we'll serve that one whole. What I like to do okay, so I'm cutting my cheddar cheese here. I have some 4-year white cheddar, and I'm just kind of breaking it because cheddar is really nice when you break it and just put it in small pieces on the tray, because lots of times people will eat this with their fingers. You always want to start the cheese for folks, because if it's just sitting there whole, they're afraid to be the first one, right? So I have this one here, and then we'll break some of the crumbles here for the blue cheese, and we'll stick the knife in there like that. And I might put that on there for now. Next we have some smoked Gouda. And I'll cut that one in half. Now this one has a wax on it, so you want to take that wax off of the cheese. Just peels right off. You can see here. And these I like to just cut in little wedges. I'll cut one of them in small wedges, pieces, and I'll leave the other half whole. And you can cut it small too if you like. So we'll put that one there. Kind of, you know, with an eye for design, you just give it, you want different textures and visually appealing. So the next cheese dish we're going to do is I have a mix here of blue cheese and cream cheese, and I've just equal parts blue cheese and cream cheese, and it's pretty stiff. So I'm just going to put it in the corner here, because I'm going to make a little flour with it. I have made thousands of these kind of trays in my career as a caterer over the past 20 years, so it's really fun for me to share some of the things that I've learned. So for this particular one, we're going to use Belgian Endive, but you can get it at the grocery store. And just cut off the end. And you're going to take each leaf and you'll just kind of push the leaf down. And it's going to look like a big sunflower when we're finished. And if it gets too hard to pull the leaf off, you just cut it again. And just put the leaves in. And then you'll get down to the bottom where you'll have this little stem part in the center, and you just stick it in the center. And what I like to do is I take some herbs. I have some leaves here and just kind of stick them in. This is some Cuban oregano. And you can see it's a nice little flower there at the edge. And it's really cute. People are really impressed. Sometimes I do really big ones like this on one tray and use several heads of endive, but I think it's cute in it like that. So the next thing we'll do for the goat cheese is we'll slice a couple of slices, and then we'll kind of put it in the middle and have some medallions coming around. And we could also put some of those seeds to garnish our flour here. Okay, so those are our cheeses. Now this is pretty cheese heavy. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cheeses. So you want to do it in odd numbers, so either 3 or 5. And you want to serve your cheeses at room temperature. So if you make your tray, and by the way, you can make these a day ahead and wrap it really good, put it in the fridge. You want to take it out an hour or so ahead of time and let it come to room temperature. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to make a salami rolls, and those are really easy. I have a wine glass here, and you just want to press it, as you can see here, along the glass. And just keep going around. And you can make it as big or as small as you want. Just pressing it as you go. And then when you're finished, put one more layer. All right, so now we're going to make some room for it here. We'll just back this up a bit. then you just want to flip it over and pull it out. And there you have a salami rose. So I also have some pepperoni slices, and I'm just going to fold those in half and pinch them. And I'm going to put those kind of like in ribbons. I like to kind of tuck things under and start. You want to make it like, hold it like a deck of cards, because that seems to hold them better. I like to kind of fill in the space. See how I'm pressing? Putting it around the cheese. And then if you have salami, you can do it in quarters and press it as well. And you're kind of making a little flower there too. And we can put those over here. And then we have our small dishes. And for sure, I'm going to put those there. So in one of the dishes, I'm going to have some pitted Kalamata olives that I've roasted, and these are my misto olives, and they're just roasted olives. You don't really need a recipe for this, with a little olive oil, lemons, and fennel seed. And you just roast them for about an hour, and they taste delicious, and they really are very, very versatile. So you could take these and you can chop them up, and it would be like a tapenade, and you could put a tapenade there. But I like to serve them whole too, because I have a fun little spoon that I can get them out with. Also, if you ever serve pitted things, you really don't want to serve any pits in any of your charcuterie board items, because unless your guests know that they're pits, they might crack their teeth, and that would not be good, right? So the next thing we want to do is something, we'll do some cornichons, which are these little tiny gherkin pickles. And we'll put some of those, and they are usually served with little onions. And I also like to serve some pickled onions if you don't have cornichons. Here's some pickled red onion I've just made with slicing red onion very thinly. And putting it, boiling some water and vinegar, equal parts, and pouring it in. You can put sugar in it, you can put salt. There's all sorts of pickled recipes out there, but they're very easy to make. You can see here I have a jar going. So that's kind of my sour briny things that we have. And also I like to have fruit and vegetables on my charcuterie boards, because I'm really big on getting fruits and vegetables. So I have a red pepper here I'm going to slice up. And that will be, just since it's a holiday, board, I'm just going to do red and green vegetables. So I'm just going to make some sticks. Cut them in half, make them pretty small. So then I'm going to start placing those in a couple of different spots. They'll be really nice over here with the Belgian Endive flour. And then over here, you kind of want to separate it out. And maybe right here. There's lots of little spots that you can put things. Now I also have some pea pods that I bought that are just ready to eat right out the bag. And I'll stick those up, standing up. It'll give some height to my tray. Maybe put some over here. Yum. And then put a few over here. Now the next thing I'm going to put in is my fruit. So I'm going to use seedless grapes. You always want to use seedless grapes. And I also cut them into little tiny bunches because you don't want people to be pulling on grapes and leaving things behind. I can just take the tiny little grape. You could cut off the branches if there's any large branches, and you can just tuck it in different areas. I like to make little stacks of grapes. Kind of give it some height. Because grapes are something that you can pretty much stack. Now I also love to put berries. And I usually kind of put the berries around with the grapes. You can kind of accent them. And match them, put them with the cheese that, now raspberries go with pretty much all cheeses. And then I like to put some dried fruit. I have some dates, which I absolutely love. So I'm just going to stick some dates and also make sure that they are pitted. Medjool are delicious. I also like to stuff dates with like blue cheese and nuts. You can stuff them with all sorts of things. And then for the filler, I like to do almonds. So maybe I'll put some almonds in my little rows here. So when people eat the rows, the almonds will be left. Put some in the corners. Almonds are really nice with the goat cheese. So I'll put them in with that. And I also have some candied pecans, which I love. If you haven't subscribed subscribe to my newsletter this month, I have a great recipe for candied pecans. Candied pecans go great with the cheese and with the Gouda. So really with the pecans and the nuts, you're just kind of filling in your holes that you have. And then last but not least, you want to have some greenery, herbs, fresh herbs or flowers or anything edible that you can put in just to give it that garnished look. I like to stick. You always have to hide your mechanics when you're using herbs, you know, just make sure you hide it in the product. Have it coming out. I like to put leaves like with my flower here. You can have some leaves there coming out. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now the last thing you want to do is if you want to write what you want to put for your cheddar here, take this off. You can put that there. And you can write something about, you know, you could put a little message, happy holidays, or you could just put camembert here, whatever you'd like. So there you have it. You have your little spreaders in as well, and you're ready to serve.
Okay, there you have it. Charcuterie board. You know, now you know everything I know about charcuterie boards. Jennifer, you want to open up for questions?
Sure. Can you repeat how you sign up for the newsletter?
Oh, okay. Yes, you just go to my website, arlenecoco.com, and there is a tab at the top for free download. And oops, is that me?
Yep, I think it might be you.
Okay, hang on. I think it went to my next. All right, let me just get out of there. Okay, all right. There's a tab at the top that says free download, and you click it, and then you would put out, you just sign your name and it automatically comes to you. And it's a PDF, and you sign up for my newsletter, which I send out once a month with recipes and things in it.
Awesome. And then let's see. Someone asked if you would put out a basket of bread or crackers with that.
Oh,
Thank you,
yeah.
Betsy.
Yeah, there's so much room. I didn't have any room on that tray for any bread or crackers. I actually put them on the side because I find over time, if you put bread by something that could be wet, like the fruit or something, it'll get soggy. So I kind of like to do mine separate. And I knew crusty breads. I make my own breads actually. And I do always a gluten-free cracker if somebody's gluten-free or prefers that. And I try to have a variety of breads and crackers when I'm doing a board that large.
Awesome. Any other questions? We have a lot of comments that say that everything looked yummy and lovely. The salami rose was the best, according to Denise. I love that. I'm excited to try that technique.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that bad camera action there. I've been trying to fire my camera person, but she just won't go.
I know,
And
cameras
I'm
are
a
the worst.
one-woman show, guys. Remember that. I do editing, I do everything. So when I looked at that throws, I said, that's not exactly in focus, but you get the idea. Just fold it over and put it on the rim of the glass and just keep going.
Right, exactly. Were there any other questions?
I saw somebody had their hand raised. I don't know if it was in the chat or.
Yeah, Wendy, did you have a question, or I didn't see it added to the chat?
So this will be, like I said, on my YouTube channel. If you want to review it again, the video will be on the channel, and I'm going to leave it up there for about maybe a month or so people can take a look and refer to it if they want. And then the recipes for the blue cheese, I believe I've already sent, right? And the list and the olives.
Yep, that was all included. If for some reason you did not receive the link to Arlene's Sway, you can go ahead and reach out to me. I just put my email address in the chat, so you can put that down. It's jgilbertson@wholefoods.coop, so wholefoods.coop. And I can share out today's recording. I can share out the recipe link. So it's all right there if you want it. All right, if there's no other questions or comments, I just want to remind folks that we have 2 more cooking classes coming up this week. So next Thursday at 6 p.m. Central Time, we've got my class, the Easy Holiday Appetizers class. And then on Saturday, we're doing our Kids in the Kitchen Holiday Treats class. So that's going to be some sweet shareable recipes. Both of those are on our website at wholefoods.coop/classes, or you can find it on Eventbrite. And again, our classes are Central Standard Time. So if I saw a couple of people joined us a little late today, so that's unfortunate. But if you want to email me, you can get this whole recording, and we're happy to share it out, or you can just visit Arlene's YouTube site for the recording that she just shared. So thank you everybody for spending time with us this Saturday morning. It was really enjoyable. Arlene, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge.
I love doing it.
I bet your husband was really happy with that tray too.
He was taking pictures, sending them to all his friends saying, oh, life's tough here.
Right?
We ate on it a couple of days and I had to put it away.
That's funny. Well, thank you again, everybody, for attending. Thank you, Arlene, so much for sharing with us today. Arlene has another class coming up in January. Remind me what that one is. I think it's the flexitarian.
It's flexitarian. It's all about incorporating meat and plant-based things in the same meal, and just the flexitarian lifestyle, which I've embraced for health reasons, and I love it. And it'll be fun. It'll be informative for sure.
Right. And that class is Saturday, January 22nd at 10 a.m. Central Time. So you can join us with that one. So thank you, everybody. Happy holidays and happy grazing. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday.